Nice banana. And now what about the peel? If you throw it in the bin, it adds up to the almost 2 kilograms of waste that every Cape Townian generates per day. And that's a pity, because you can make something out of it. So I put it into this container here, which stands in the kitchen and which collects everything that is biodegradable from the kitchen. You see peels here, tea bags and the rest. And what you can do is you can turn it into compost. Compost is a wonderful material. I've brought you a sample here, and you see once it's fully done, which takes a few months, it looks like forest soil. It's fresh, it's black, it doesn't smell unpleasant, it's very nice, and it's absolutely precious for your plant. If you have a garden, you should be composting your garden waste. It's far too valuable a resource to be carted away and to be dumped, hopefully to be turned into compost, but often if you just leave it in your bin, it won't be composted, it'll just go onto the rubbish dump, filling it up further. And what's bad about organic waste also is that although it biodegrades in a big rubbish dump, it does so under the exclusion of oxygen. So what it forms, it ferments and it forms methane, and it's a very powerful greenhouse gas. There are some rubbish dumps that are using that methane to generate electricity or heat or something else, but most don't. So even years after you've discarded off your banana peel or of your garden waste, it churns out very potent greenhouse gases. And of course it fills up the landfill. So it's really a resource gone to waste. The best thing is, if you have a garden, that you mix your kitchen waste with your garden waste. It's a nice mixture. Chop it, the bigger branches, chop it fine, keep mixing it, keep it moist in summer, so occasionally, and what you can do, which I do at home if it's practical, to chuck all your washing up water onto it, because that's water gone to waste anyway, and the compost loves it. And then a few months later, it takes longer in winter, but in summer it's a few months and you have this very nice compost. Now there are people who have a problem with rats, like us. So what you do, you don't want to put your kitchen waste onto the compost because it may attract all these vermin and other unwanted guests. One way around that is of course the worm farm, another one is bokashi. And you see this, just a simple bucket here. I pour my kitchen waste into it, I add a nice bokashi bran, again something dry and not stinky or smelly at all, nice stuff. You close the lid, now you want to exclude oxygen and you leave it in here. Once the bin is full, you put it aside for 2 weeks and then it's done. It doesn't turn it into compost, but it ferments it, so it takes away everything that would attract rats and other unwanted creepy crawlies. And once that is done, you can either bury the contents of the bokashi in the soil underneath your beds, your vegetable beds, and they love it, or you just dump it onto the compost together with the garden waste. So remember, it's not only about saving landfill space, which Cape Town is also running out of, and of course saving all these trips to the dump and all these trucks going up and down the road, but it's also about avoiding the generation of very powerful greenhouse gases. So it's an easy, simple step to do. Get composting. If you have a garden, you don't even have to buy a composter. There are very many designs that you can use where you use scrap materials, old tires or whatever else to make your own. The city of Cape Town, incidentally, has just had a program, and I think it's already oversubscribed, where they gave away 5,000 compost bins, nice bins, to willing households for free, under the condition that you agree to being monitored, so they want to see whether it makes a difference. And if successful, and there will be subsequent rollouts of this program, I think they want to get as many of us to compost, which ultimately could cut your waste generation by about 40%. So it's a lot of waste that can be turned into something useful.